Top of the third at Impact. No score. Dogs left 2 at the end of the bottom of 2. Here's a high drive to right. This one off the bat of KV Edwards, and a nice play in that right field corner by the Dogs' new right fielder, Charlie Tilson. And new into the broadcast booth, Chicago's own Curtis Granderson. Welcome, Curtis.
Thank you very much for having me. It's best seats in the house.
Yeah, best seat in the house. You know it. You come in the broadcast booth, and you know the deal. So, Curtis Granderson, you're a Chicago native. Of course, this is your home. A lot of us know you as a Detroit Tiger, as the enemy, but this is home for you.
It is, and the interesting thing is, since so many people do know me from Detroit, that's where they assume I'm from. But Chicago is home. It always has been.
K goes to Hobson, and Daniel Lingua's out. So tell me about why you're here tonight.
So we're here because Chicago's home for me. We've done a lot of things in my hometown, just trying to get people introduced to the game of baseball. And for those that are playing the game, making sure they have the ability to play it all year long. The weather today is great, but we know that's not the case all year here. So at UIC, my alma mater, we've been able to partner with them to create Chicago Baseball and Educational Academy. And the Chicago Dogs came in as a great partnership and said, hey, tonight's jerseys are going to be auctioned off with those proceeds going to CBEA, the Chicago Baseball Educational Academy, which is home to 60 communities in the Chicagoland area, boys and girls practicing, playing, and training this great game.
It's got to be pretty cool for a guy like you who grew up as one of those little boys playing baseball in Chicago, trying to get your game better in the snow and take advantage of the opportunities. And now you're an ambassador, right? You've been all over the world, and you're helping these kids. What does that mean to you?
It's crazy to think about, because when I was playing in this cold weather and the warm weather, whenever we would get all of it, I never envisioned the fact that I would have a chance to sit here and talk to you about the things that we've been able to do because of baseball. But because of it, and given the opportunity to get a chance to have my college paid for, to travel the world, to have teammates from all over, all different ethnicities, races, and genders, it's been absolutely amazing. Now we get a chance to pay it forward and provide those same opportunities for the community here, because that community helped shape and mold me. So now I get a chance to hopefully do it for the other ones here.
Jersey auction tonight, those sharp blacks. Here's the thing. If you're going to auction off jerseys and raise money for your wonderful foundation, the jerseys got to look good. These look good.
I'm jealous because I've never had a chance to wear all blacks. So I want a black jersey when I get a chance.
Kyle Murphy strikes out Javion Williams. More with Curtis Granderson on the other side. No score, bottom 3. It's opening night between the Dogs and the Railcats. Still got Curtis Granderson up here in the booth. Big league alum. Tigers, Yankees, Mets, Dodgers, Blue Jays, Brewers, and Marlins. I remember them all.
They kept letting me come back, so I'm thankful to all those clubs. It was great in all different aspects of it. Like you said, Detroit was where it all started, but I got a chance to wrap up in Miami, which was a great place as well.
Connor Kopak leads off the inning, down 0-1 against Trevor Lubking. This is a new dog, by the way, one of just 2 guys in the lineup tonight who are new. Curtis, that was a lot of stops. Which one surprised you most?
Probably Milwaukee. It was a trade that I wasn't sure was going to happen at that time. I went from Toronto Blue Jays to Milwaukee, and I've been up there so many times, being from the Chicagoland area, having a friend that went to Milwaukee School of Engineering. So I had been there, I had played there, never thought I'd get a chance to play there, and not only did I play there, but we had a chance to make a deep playoff run, which was a ton of fun. The Brew Crew and the Cheeseheads all up there.
And the dude really sliding in the center field slide.
Bernie coming down, and also the sausage race, which was great to be a part of.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Kopak, and he strikes out. Trevor Lubking has been good. 4 strikeouts for the Gary left-hander. Here with Curtis Granderson, who went to UIC, grew up in Chicago. Hey, now the stadium is named after you. Of course, the donation helping build this stadium. What goes on in your mind when you walk into a ballpark that is called Curtis Granderson Stadium?
Surprisingly, it's one of the nervous moments I have, because everyone always says, hey, what do you want to name the stadium? And I couldn't think of that. I couldn't say that. I wasn't going to say that. And even if I call it that, I call it CG Stadium. I don't call it my full name. So I try to get inside as best I can. And
feel a little egocentric, like you don't want to blast your name.
Not at all. I'll have other people say it. It's even funny to see it on social media when UIC posted and says this game, and they tag the location. It says CG Stadium on it. And I'm like, Oh, yeah, that is the name of the stadium now, which is so unique to hear. Again, going back to what you said before, I would have never imagined that would have been a possibility.
2-0 to Tilson, big league alum.
And speaking of, Charlie Tilson actually him and I worked out a lot at UIC as he made his debut with the White Sox. So one of the things you talked about was getting the kids through the program, through CBEA, and then ultimately seeing how it kind of progresses. The great thing about it is where all these 60 communities practice, play, and train is the same place big leaguers such as Charlie Tilson, myself, Jason Kipnis, George Contos, even Anthony Rizzo and Pedro Strip, when the Cubs would come in for Cubs Fest, they would choose to rent our place out and practice and play there. Tim Anderson, before he made his big leap to get his hitting titles there, was working out at UIC, the same place where all these 60 communities get a chance to practice and play.
You're hitting on a lot of the big names in Chicago baseball. Chicago basketball has a great reputation. Oh, the Mecca, basketball in Chicago, and of course that's true. What do people not realize about the baseball community here?
We're deep, and the roots go so far. If you look back and go, okay, number of big leaguers historically, Chicago and the state of Illinois is at the top, hands down.
That's lingua for out 2 on Tilson.
And you can research that and find it. I mean, we have greats such as Jim Tomei, 600 home runs, who's done amazing things in the game. And you just continue to move down, World Series champs, top award winners, big contracts, guys that have done a ton of great things in this game that are always in it at the end of the year. We saw TJ McFarland in it with the Cardinals last year. George Contos got a chance to get 2 championship rings with the San Francisco Giants. Jason Kipnis almost upset the Cubs when they were with the Cleveland Indians there. So it's been fun to see it and cheer for all of us that get a chance to represent Chicago when we get a chance to play.
Here in the booth with the great Curtis Granderson, 2 outs, and Michael Krause is up. Another outfielder who loves to roam around that big green grass here at Impact.
This would be a nice one to roam around. I'm looking at it. I know we have the little garage out there in left field, but big walls. You're not going to get a chance to rob home runs, but at the same time, it seems comfortable enough. Nothing too quirky out there. So I would enjoy playing this outfield. Oh, we got a little bit over there.
One quirky thing is the short porch and right.
Gotcha.
294. Krause takes that high. 2 balls, 1 strike.
But it looks good, though, and just the constant movement. We got the expressway behind us. Is that 294 right there?
294. That's why right field is 294.
I see.
You seeing it now?
I like it.
Hey, look at left field. What do we got?
3-1-2, representing. Hey, so many different ways.
There's symbolism.
I like it. That's what you have to have when they talk about just the creativity and just the originality of the different stadiums. That's one of the things I always love with traveling, seeing what each organization and team is going to bring to their stadium. And this is really cool to get a chance to see it. So if you haven't been to a game, definitely make sure you come out to Impact Field.
Hey, thanks for the plug.
Oh, anytime. This is my 2nd time here, and I've loved it. I'm talking about bringing my dad up here now.
Krause walks. We'd love to have him.
Yeah, he's a big baseball enthusiast, kind of a brags about his trivia side of the game.
Ooh, we do trivia on the broadcast.
We'd have to get him up in here to do it, and he would love it, especially if it was hot dog night, which was my first game here. That's how you all introduced me to the game. It was free hot dog night, so I'm like, I got to come back. And
what better money's worth.
Oh, I enjoyed. That's one thing you don't realize from a player standpoint, all the great stadium food that we don't get a chance to enjoy. So when it was free hot dog night and they gave me my free pass, it's the first thing I did was go straight to the concession stand.
Wild pitch sends Krause to second. So 2 outs and the Dogs threatening.
Hopefully he's all right there. He was holding himself there.
Let's see again what happened. Trevor Lubking sort of fell awkwardly, holding his left elbow. You hope for the best now.
Yeah, not good, especially to start the season like that. Anytime they grab, especially from a pitcher standpoint, just violent deliveries at each pitch out, you never want to see that.
Trevor Lubking getting checked out right now. He had a scorching start tonight. And another look. As he right away looks down at the elbow, wincing in pain.
Man.
Where does your mind go when you see that?
It's interesting. I had a high school teammate that had a very similar situation by the name of Nick Kerr. Great left-handed pitcher. Delivers a pitch, and all of a sudden it flies so far to the left side. He ends up grabbing his arm after the fact, and next thing you know, it wasn't too good. So hopefully it's not too bad. And he can rehab and get himself back on the field sooner than later.
Looks like Lubking's going to step aside. So we will step aside too for just a moment. And on the other side, more with Curtis Granderson, bottom 3, and a new pitcher coming for the Railcats. Right-hander Josh Vincent, after starter Trevor Lubking, threw a wild pitch right away, grimaced and looked at his left elbow, exited the game, and certainly hoping for the best for Trevor Lubking, who struck out 4, kept the Dogs scoreless. But here's Josh Vincent, 25-year-old right-hander, is out of Eastern Connecticut State University, and a second-year Railcat. Up here in the booth, Sam Brief, along with Curtis Granderson, Chicago baseball legend and MLB veteran. Curtis, you brought the good weather.
Oh, this is what we needed right now. I had people calling me up last week when we had some of those home games with the Cubs and the White Sox going, hey, do you miss it? And I said, do you see the wind? Do you see the cold? No, I don't miss that. I do miss this side of it, though, when we do have the nice weather and the fans come out in groves like they're here at Impact Field. This is what the game is built around and what you look forward to, not only as a player, but just as a fan. There's so many people enjoying themselves. This is the part that I miss. But not the cold, winter and windy that we get here in the Chicagoland area. Did enough of that from Little League, high school, college, and in the big leagues when we've come in town to play.
You've played in the cold enough. What's the worst part about playing in the cold that someone like me, who just watches in the warm booth, might not realize?
My hands. If you lose the feeling in your hands or your hands get cold, that's where everything happens, from throwing the ball, catching the ball, swinging the bat. Everything else typically stays pretty warm. Because if you look at even a standard uniform, you got socks, you have shoes, you have pants, but no one really has gloves on. So that's the part where it gets it. And I finally figured out the trick. Whichever pitchers aren't pitching in that game, I have them wear my batting gloves. So that way they stay kind of warm. So when it's my time to hit, I get the batting gloves from them so they're warm and toasty when I step on in the batter's box. And whoever I'm giving them to loves it because they get some gloves to keep their hands warm.
That's such a win-win.
Yep.
They're literally warming your gloves. And then for them, they get to keep their hands warm. That's beautiful.
You know,
do other people do that, or is that a Curtis Granderson thing?
I don't know. I think that might be a my thing, but I'm sure other people may have copied it. You do have some stadiums that have, little heat packs and plug-ins, but not every stadium has that luxury. But there are always some pitchers who are not going to play that day. So, hey, you want to wear my batting gloves? And as soon as a pitcher gets you some hits, all of a sudden you're the pitcher I always go back to.
Curtis Granderson, you are a smart man. You are a very smart man.
I think that's what Chicago ended up teaching. How do we stay warm and also realizing it's not just cold for me, it's also cold for the other team. So as soon as I mentally get past that side of it, I think I have an advantage over everybody.
What do you think of Josh Vincent's hair?
If I could grow it that long overnight, I would do it. It's that in-between, the hat phase, that I don't want to go through.
What's the hat phase?
So you know when you get a fresh haircut, you go outside, you don't mind wearing a hat. But then as it grows long and it doesn't get to that length and it's kind of all over the place and the only way you can go out is to wear a hat, that's the hat phase. I don't like that phase. I want to skip past the hat phase. If I can skip past it and get that length, get about a foot overnight, yeah, I would absolutely rock it. And I would do it old school side. Pick the afro out, put the hat right on top so I had the fro sticking out on the front and the back, almost like a Krusty the Clown type deal.
Whoa!
That's how I would do it.
You sound like you've spent long sleepless nights analyzing this, and I love it.
Yeah, I mean, the hair game is big, especially if you can pull it off. So I'm a little envious of the guys that have the long hair. I used to remember those commercials where they'd show them in the shower.
Troy Polamalu.
Oh,
I've watched Troy Polamalu showering on the Head & Shoulders commercials.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yep.
You know, those commercials stick with you. There's a few of them that stick with people over generations, and hair washing ones are one of them.
Very memorable as we watch the fans up in the Rivers Club and get set for Danny Mars to face off against Josh Vincent. No score, bottom 3. Dogs have a man at second. Michael Kraus went over to second on the wild pitch from Lubking that hurt him. And it's Mars with 2 outs in the bottom of the 3rd. Dogs had 2 on, 2 outs in the 2nd inning. Singles from Greer and Kay, but then stranded on a Harrison Smith strikeout. So let's see here as Mars looks to attack Vincent. There's a high pop-up. It's Pretty deep and right, but playable for Olin. Crown Point, Indiana native for the third and final out. Curtis Granderson, what a joy to have you.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you.